and you can just call me Johnny Osmond.
Johnny Osmond. That's a
Yeah,
cool name, bro.
thank
Okay. And nice to meet you, bro. I heard a lot of good things about you, and I heard like you're a G and you have interesting views. So we can just have it be like a conversation, I guess, and like bounce off each other.
Yeah, that
Like
works
I'm
for me.
totally unprepared. Like I came here totally unprepared, and then we can just, I guess, have it be a flowing conversation.
Yeah, that sounds good to me, man. Yeah, I spoke with Logan approximately 2 weeks ago. He's
Yeah.
really cool. And right after I talked with him, he's talking about the whatever podcast. He's like, yeah, I was on that. And I saw, some clips of the whatever podcast, but I never really watched a whole lot of it. I know there are some people that are fairly well known that go on it. And I looked,
Mhm.
there he was on it. And I was like, shit, holy shit.
Yeah, yeah,
And then he's talking and he's taking over the whole thing basically. I was like, damn. And they called him, uh, everyone said that he was pretty fucking awesome. And I
yeah.
watched that and I was like, this guy's going places. And he said I should talk with you next. So here I am talking with you.
Yeah, Logan, shout out to Logan. Logan is a cool dude.
Yes.
Everyone checking out the Logan Duong on IG. I'm not sure if it's going by the same name on YouTube, but IG the Logan Duong, and he's a fucking G. He's going places, and especially like for the younger guys, Logan is a great person to look up to because he's got a lot of things right. Relationships, he's in the military, he's a very fit guy, he can fight, and I respect that. So he brought us together basically.
Yeah. Yeah, he did. And I look at his Instagram and I look at it, I'm like, it's that's pretty damn awesome too. And I've been working on mine at
Okay.
first for a while. I never even worked on it or like try to make it look cool. And then I just
Yeah.
started putting little things here and there. I put reels up and
Hmm.
from there, and I'm gonna keep evolving. And I think yours looks amazing as well. And
Appreciate it.
let me ask you this question:
Okay.
what what are some of the things when you were younger that made you realize, that oh, that you basically don't want to be a NPC and you want
An
to,
NPC.
yeah, and you want to go as far as you possibly can. What were some realizations you had when you were younger?
So what would you say is the definition of an NPC, right? Because I think there's no kid or no young guy that's like, I want to be a loser average, right? So what would you say is an NPC? Like, is it someone with a job? Is it someone like in a regular job? Is it someone earning a regular type of income? What would you say is an NPC?
I guess you could say all those things. I always
Yeah.
picture it in my mind whenever I'm thinking. I just think of it as, as the definition of non-playable character. And I think of someone in a video game where they're just standing fucking still and they're not even
Yeah.
moving. Well, everybody else is, well, the main characters are taking action. The main
Yeah.
component of being a playable character in a
Yeah.
world setting is taking action. So that's the way I think about it. But yeah, I agree with you too. Basically not, that would be somebody that's not going anywhere with their life
Mhm.
as a non-playable character.
So in my case, and I started reflecting this recently, I think I had an amazing family. I have an amazing family. And I have an amazing dad. So my dad, from when I was young, has always instilled in me the, I guess, need to excel. It was like basic. And when I look at like other families now and other kids, I think they just didn't have that. So my dad literally, I'd say whenever I had an idea, he would be like, oh shit, that's a great idea. And he would encourage that, me having great ideas and me thinking about great ideas.
Okay.
And for him, it was like normal. He was like, yeah, obviously you're fucking smart as hell. Yeah, obviously you're gonna be the best. You're gonna like excel on this thing, this thing, this thing. Yeah, you show them. And it was just a natural, normal thing. So let's say when I was in high school, I guess when I think back, what started slowly make me think that I can't be an NPC. And I literally, when I was like 14, I was like, I didn't think about like I was gonna be an entrepreneur. I'm gonna be a businessman. I actually wanted to become a physicist. So
Okay.
my dream when I was young, I wanted to become a physicist. I was so fucking excited about reading physics books. I would read Albert Einstein. I would literally be like 12 years old. I'll be reading the relativity theory. So I remember we had this exercise in school and they were asking like, yo, what do you want to be? I was like physicist. We would like look up how much does a physicist make? Like, I don't know, they were like 100 grand a year, 200 grand a year. And bro, I didn't have a concept of anything. But then over the time, what made it for me is I would like see slowly but surely. And I think that's great about social media. All the like things, all the things you can attain, supercars, the young guys doing it, people living the big life. And I grew up in Austria. So Austria is a place that is, how should I phrase it? They're not a, it's not like in America where people aspire to be something great. In Austria, it's just like, yo, if you just have a job and you just do your thing and you're, I guess, comfortable, then you're good. Like literally. And I hated that.
Yeah.
So I would be in class and I'd be like, yo, I want to be rich. I remember I was in class. I was like, everyone who has a job is broke. I literally said that in class. And I was like, oh, Prince, that's not true. And I started seeing like, yo, are these fucking losers? Like, who are these people? None of these people are actually trying to be amazing at anything.
Yeah.
So I actually started developing a a little bit of an anger. I was like angry at everyone because people are telling me that my dreams and aspirations are too much. They're over the top. They're not realistic. You know, I was an athlete as well. I still am an athlete. I was Austrian champion. U18, U20, U23, the age groups. And people would always tell me, oh, yeah, Prince, you're not going to be the fastest, blah, blah, blah. So I developed that underdog mentality. So that's, I guess, where I started thinking about, like, yeah, all these fucking losers, they literally are not aspiring to be great. And it's literally pathetic. That's when I started thinking that around like 15, probably 15, 16. But I always wanted to be the best at everything. It's just, yeah, it's just instilled.
Yeah. When you said
What
that,
about you?
when you said that, it made me think of a lot of different ideas.
Yeah.
One of the first things that it made me think of was how people in general, when they talk with each other, they'll talk usually about a person. They'll just, for the most part, when they're having a conversation, they'll talk about, well, there's this guy here and he's not, I don't like him. And they'll go, well, I like this girl here. I don't like this person. And blah, blah, blah. So that's what most people do when they talk. And then, like,
Yeah.
above that is event, they'll say, oh, we're going to this event. Yeah. And they'll talk about this event. Oh, I saw this concert, blah, blah, blah. And then above that
Yeah.
is the idea. So the
Yeah.
idea is like, so this is what I want to do. I actually want to create this. I want to figure out how to create this way. And then above
Mhm.
that is talking about how you're going to execute the idea. And I thought about
Yeah.
that whenever you were talking about when you were younger, being in Austria and how, a lot of people work in dead end jobs, and it made me think of that because I I'm all about ideas and executing them.
Yep.
And that's exactly where I'm at. So
But I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you
okay.
one thing about Europe. Sorry to interrupt. So Europe is a little bit different than America in general. So what was it? They say in Europe, you you work to live, and in America, you live to work. So it's different mentalities. In Europe, people don't want to work a lot. The reason they work is so they can have a good life, not even a great life, just a good life
Yeah.
where they can see their family, they can meet their friends, they can do all the things that I guess bring them basic happiness,
Yeah.
which is great and all. But I feel like it stunts your growth, and that's why Europe doesn't have literally the best of the best of the best. It's funny because I had this guy once. He literally said in World War II, all the alpha males died in Europe, which
Okay.
is kind of a fucked up thing to say.
Pretty wild.
But it's like it happened like that.
Yeah.
And all the alpha males survived in the United States, you know, since the United States was the big winner. So I don't know if you've ever been to Europe, but America
I've not
is a very different
been north
place.
to Canada, and I've been down south of the United States, but I haven't been east.
Yeah. So I saw that, and I just didn't feel like I belonged. I felt like I was out of place because I wanted to be the best in everything. And everyone around me was, oh yeah, you can just have basic happiness. Just have a job, you can work, you can make enough.
Right.
And here the jobs actually, I would say, it's not as fucked up as the US. You can have like one job and shit like that and do well. Maybe not now, everything's going to shit, inflation, everyone's becoming a brokey.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that was because yeah, in the past I was like kind of angry. I was turning like a psychopath. I was like, I would tell everyone like, yo, I'm gonna be this and that. And then I would like think that they're my haters. Like, yo, these are all my haters. I need to like prove them wrong and shit.
Yeah.
Right? I need to become rich. Stun these haters. They don't know me, son.
Yeah.
So yeah. How was it about you though? Like how was it growing up in America for you?
All right. So yeah, I grew up, and my dad is a pretty intelligent guy.
Uh
Whenever he was in grade school, he was the chess champion in grade school, and then I was playing, and he didn't tell me until, so there was like a two-tier championship, and I lost the first one. I came in second place, and he said, I
mhm.
won. He said, I beat everybody in chess. I was like,
Yeah.
oh shit. And then there was a championship of all the classes at the very end.
uh
It was the top one, and I ended up studying Bobby Fischer, who
mhm.
in my opinion, he's the greatest chess player who ever lived. So
Yeah.
I studied his moves, and that was like a mentor. I had a little computer program. I looked at how he moved, and I studied that for a few hours, maybe for like a few days. And then I versed the guy that originally beat me, and I beat him. So I beat everybody. But
Mhm.
but I don't know. I think I always thought a little bit differently than a lot of people who I went to school with. I had ideas, plans, and thoughts that were not the norm. So
Mhm.
probably a lot of people thought of me as fucking weird, and
Yeah, exactly.
so
Right.
I was looking back upon now, though. I think that it's probably a very beneficial thing because it allows me to execute ideas in very creative ways. So
Mhm.
that's it was like a small towns where I grew up,
Yeah.
and there yeah there's just like not a lot of fun things to do. Now I live
Yeah.
near the city that I like. It's called Pittsburgh, and I do like that city. I mean, it's not huge, it's not like Miami. I've been to Miami. I really like Miami personally, and I like Vegas, although I haven't been there in a while. So
Yeah.
but I do like it. I think if you're very successful and you have everything right, like for instance, you have your fitness up, you're doing, from what I see, it looks like you're doing good in, many multiple realms, including fitness and
Thank you.
relationships and wealth. And so if you have everything and you're doing good and you're maximizing everything, depending on where you live, it's going to be way more enjoyable. Like I used to go to Pittsburgh, I'd go there and I just didn't like it. But as I become older and wiser, I enjoy it more. Like I enjoy talking to new people way more. I become more open-minded and more social. And
Mhm.
I don't like, a lot of guys, like I talk with guys in Pittsburgh, if they're going out and they're socializing, if they get rejected by like a girl, they're like,
Yeah.
a lot of people like take it seriously, but there's over 7 billion people on earth. We
Well,
may
a
be,
lot of people can take it seriously. Like
yeah,
it's their nightmare getting
yeah.
rejected by people.
Yeah, I just think of it as a learning experience. And then the other thing is I always think about it as like the girl's not really rejecting you, who you truly are. For like, say you're in a bar or something in a random place and some girl says no or fuck off. She doesn't even
Yeah.
tell you. It's like she rejected that scenario. She didn't really reject you as a person. Um, I don't know.
Yeah, that's actually a good point because like I'll say it because you said I appreciate it. You said that, I do work on multiple things in my life, which is, I think, very important.
Yeah.
But I don't want it to sound arrogant or anything, but even I get rejected. I'll go up like to a cutie in the mall. I'll be like, hey, I thought you're very cute. What's your IG? Like, she'll give me the IG like 99% of the time.
Right.
But let's say I hit her up on IG, but she just doesn't seem that interested, right?
Yeah.
Whatever, for whatever reason. And I'm like, even I get rejected, right?
Yeah.
I'm fit. I make a huge load of money, right? People, especially girls, tell me I'm attractive, whatever,
Yeah.
and fairly confident. So you just shouldn't be afraid of that shit. It's a numbers game like anything in life, and successful people in life understand that anything is always a numbers game. There's gonna be people who love you. There's gonna be people who hate you. There's gonna be girls who are gonna fall completely in love for you. I mean, in you.
Yeah.
And it's funny because sometimes even I look at people, I look at guys, and I'm like, how the fuck do you have a girlfriend? It doesn't even make sense. Why does she love you?
Right.
But it's just whatever. Like, I guess they kind of click. It just happens. You have a connection, right? Even I'll have a connection with a woman, and I'll be like, it just feels amazing. Like, I actually have a connection. Just for some reason, like we click.
Yeah.
So there's always someone out there for you. But what you have to do is you got to increase the likelihood for that to happen. And you do that by improving in all realms of human endeavor,
Definitely.
right? Life is about probabilistic chance. A lot of people don't understand that. You have to increase the likelihood of something happening, right? You have to increase the likelihood of you winning in business. I'll literally be, I guess, in business, and I'll tell the people I'm working with, yo, the next few months are fucking going to be amazing. And they're like, why? And I'm like, just look at this, and look at this, and look at this. All these things that can potentially increase our revenue. Maybe
Yeah.
this might not work. Maybe this might not work. But we have a bunch of things. So the chance of us winning hard is going up. So yeah, people gotta view it as probabilistic thinking. Work on yourself, work on all the things that can make you better. Fitness, your confidence, your swagger, the way you talk, your style, everything. And the likelihood of you landing a hottie, a cute in the mall is gonna go up. But it's not gonna be 100%. It's not. Even Andrew Tate gets rejected by females.
Exactly.
Even Andrew Tate. There's gonna be some bitch somewhere. So be like, yeah, I don't know. I don't like the way he talked. He talks a little bit too hard. I like a little softer guy.
Right.
And then she'll reject him. And he won't give a fuck. So that's how you gotta think.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree completely.
Yeah.
Changing the gears a little bit to reading. Now, some people I talk to, they're avid book readers. Other people that I talk to who take
Yeah.
action a lot, they hate it. No, do you read?
That's a great point. So in the past, I used to read a lot when I was very young.
Okay.
Then I kind of stopped reading a lot. Recently now, I started reading again.
Okay.
My opinion on reading is just maybe even 2 months ago, I was like, it's a waste of time.
Yeah.
Because I would rather spend my time working on my business.
Yeah.
And if you actually work in your business, you don't have that much time. You're just doing shit. You're replying to messages. You're trying to find new deals. You're trying to find new people. So am I going to really sit there for an hour or two and read a book? Right. But I met this one guy. He's very rich. And he told me that he read this book and he recommends me reading this book. It's actually this book by Alex Hormozy. And I forgot the title of it, but it was basically like Reuters, hundreds of millions, something like that.
Okay.
And he talks about a lot of great concepts
Is it the
on how to make money.
$100 million leads?
Yeah. Can you say it again?
I believe it's $100 million lead.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So my belief now is there are actually some books that are actually very, very informative and can actually change the way you think. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Let's say someone asked me for advice. How's it different from me just writing it down and then I'll tell them, yo, read this? There's gonna be some books that are good.
Yeah.
So now I'll sit down and I'll read, like, my goal is to read like at least 30 pages a day, which maybe takes half an hour. And I'll do this with amazing books,
Right.
literally books where it's like people tell me or I read the reviews that these books are incredible pieces of information that can transform the way you think.
Yeah.
Even let's say in crypto, so I'm a big crypto guy. I made
So am
my
I.
first like quarter million in college. I was like 20 years old. I made a $250,000 in my college dorm with crypto. I had a moonshot. And recently, I still deal with crypto a lot. I invest in crypto a lot. And just recently, actually, like one of the coins I was investing, it went up a lot. It did
Nice.
like a 5x,
That's
hundreds
awesome.
of thousands of dollars, and then it actually went down a little bit. And I was like, "Yo, fuck this shit! Like, I'm losing tens of thousands like in a day. Like, what the fuck?"
Yeah.
So I have this friend here. He was like, "Yo, I read in the book that you should like have a specific way of like paying out the money, taking profits on the way up because it increases the likelihood of you being able to invest back in."
Yeah.
And he read that in the book. And I'm like, yo, maybe I should read that book because it's actually going to make me money. Because if it actually works, the idea that I talk about in the book and apply it for the rest of my life, then let's say I just even make like 50K, 100K, then it paid off. And I just have to read the book real quick. It will take maybe like 2 weeks. Then I'm good.
Yeah.
So I think now, yeah, you should maybe read like 10, 20 pages a day. And that averages to like a book a month or something like that.
Interesting. I really I like that perspective. I've
Yeah.
talked to some people who are pretty high up. Like I talked to one of the top promoters in Canada. His name's Justin Mark, and I fucking hate reading. He's like, no, he goes, you read a book. What do you
I do too.
He's like, what are you going to get from it? He's like, you got to take
Yeah.
action. But then I talked to other people who are really successful. Like I talked to Michael Sartain. And I think he's one of the top promoters in the United States. And he's like, I
Yeah.
read all the time. All the time I read.
Yeah.
And so like I do read.
What do you think? You read.
Yeah, I read. I read sometimes I don't read, but I have been reading the past like month and a half, 2 months. I
Mm.
finished the book called The Setup by Dan Bilzerian, which I thought
Yeah.
was very fascinating, and it changed my perspective on the idea of fame. I used to think, fame, some people are famous, so what? But like really, if you look at the internet,
Yeah.
used to be like people on the internet who are famous, they're internet famous. But now like people who are famous on the internet are really fucking famous. Like
Yeah.
everybody knows who they are if they're pretty up there on the internet. And that kind of changed my perspective on that. And everybody wants to meet you if you're super, super famous on the internet. So
And he
like,
talked about in the book or what?
yeah. Yeah, he talked
Yeah.
about that and like how it changes people's perspective of you. So if I read that, I read the
Yeah.
whole book. Now I read this part of this book a while back, maybe like a year and a half ago, and I said, I gotta fucking finish this because if I read a book, I personally I want to finish it and I say, hey, I completed this, So it's this fiction book. It's called Weave World.
Uh-huh.
And the main reason I'm reading this is some people say, and I think what you're saying is good, really good too. Like with Alex Hormozy, he's a genius. Everybody that I talk to who is successful, they always say good things about him. So
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with reading or listening to what he has to say. But the book Weave World, the reason I'm reading that is I want to incorporate occasionally things that are different, very different perspectives that no one's really thinking about. So when I read a book like this, and it's fiction, and it's like, and I used to hate fiction. And so every once in a while I'll read a fiction book. It's so I can get creative ideas, glimmers of it in a way that's non-conventional. So it may allow me to see the world in a way that very few people are seeing. So like
Mm-hmm.
things like something along the lines of, you know, they say, and this isn't necessarily completely true, but like if you read books that no one else is reading, you're going to think differently, and if you're thinking differently,
That's a good point.
you're going to have new perspective. I've taught all kinds of people, and if you want to have a great dating life, and if you want great experiences, you want to be connected with great beautiful women, click the link below.